What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down what's really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is up 1.32%. Market's been open roughly 30 minutes. 490 the low, 501 the high. So during the pre-market, you did have a certain level of optimism, but as per usual, once the market does open, NIO tanks. There was one institution that kind of led that charge, and that was a $1.18 million transaction. Luckily enough, big money is willing and lined up to buy the dip, so that's what's really pushing it higher. So today's going to be a fairly heavy volume day based on what we can see already happening, but essentially you are also going to be seeing a battle. So some institutions are willing to really push it lower, as well as you also do have shorts increasing. Currently 849,000 shares, 11.37% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 175.49 million shares overall are being shorted. So a couple of things is really influencing NIO as well as the broader market today. One is this right here. So China and the States did extend their pause for another 90 days. Relatively optimistic, but then again, as what we've seen with Trump, he ultimately said that things aren't really going well with China, but clearly I think he's more self-aware this time around to realize that China is a very, very big deal. And to be kind of frank, China doesn't give two craps about the States' tariffs. So I think Trump realized that you can't really play hardball with China. So this is why another 90-day extension is fairly optimistic. At the same time, you also do have the market pricing in a tentative deal with Europe. So that's kind of a good thing. Of course, I think in general, that also could be a positive for NIO because as what Europe stated, if they come to some deal with the States, then they will be more open to negotiating with China. And so I think it's slowly but surely all the dominoes are coming into place. So potentially that could really benefit NIO going in the foreseeable future. Aside from that, on a macro standpoint, nothing really coming out. As I've mentioned, it is going to be more so Wednesday and Thursday as big data points to really move the market. But as far as today, you are seeing a good amount of institutions looking into and buying NIO. Shorts, of course, as I mentioned, are kind of not really believing that. But aside from all that, looking at the options, again, keep in mind that the market's only open about 30 minutes. If things do develop, I'll do a PM video, but for the most part, 776,000 in calls, 178,000 in puts. So a lot of volume getting in. 55% of all the options being done though are bearish in nature. And this is kind of the comical side of NIO, as I mentioned. So what does typically happen is institutions, this is why during the pre-market you see everything normal, and then institutions immediately buy puts, and thus they kind of bring the price down. So it is just straight up manipulation. So whatever entity did this 1.18 million sale first thing, clearly also did buy puts, so they wanted to kind of benefit from that. They probably didn't anticipate big money to buy the dip as much as it has been, so that's kind of a good FU to them. Looking at the options though, from the bulls standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $5.50 to $6 range. Bears are anticipating for it to be surprisingly it's all over the place, but looks like between roughly around that $4.50 range. So with us at $5, there's a little bit more upside clearly based on all that. With it right now at $4.97 though, it is exactly on this R2. So as far as today, best case scenario, it will close above that R2. And as I mentioned, for whatever reason, if it's able to close above 507, this is where you'll see a very substantial breakout in the foreseeable future. So just watch for that 497 and then 507 as kind of key points to watch for and breakout points. Flip side, 492 and then 482 is going to be kind of support levels. I don't see that 482 playing out. Maybe there might be a retest of this R1 dependent on how things play out, because I think just Trump has overshared. And what I mean by that is over the weekend, yes, we kind of found out that there's a pause extension with China and also a tentative deal with Europe. But at the same time, he also mentioned just this very weekend as well that things aren't going well with China. As well, he also mentioned that there's a 50-50% or 50-50 likelihood of a deal with Europe. So he kind of says one thing, but we see other kind of headlines. So it's kind of this weird type of scenario. So just regardless, watch for 492 and 482 if there is a pullback. Aside from all that, no new analyst ratings, no real articles kind of talking about it. So it's just piggybacking off of the broader market, as well as NIO's pretty good technicals. And what I mean by that is on the actual chart, it is currently above the ALMA, which is at 489. So another kind of key pivot to watch for. But even aside from that, it is above all the key pivotal moving averages. The only thing that's going to cause some negative kind of price action is the fact that it is overbought. And you can see that from the stochastic RSI. So at the end of the day, I think NIO is making progress. Potentially tomorrow's registration numbers might be that good catalyst to really push it higher, assuming it can kind of beat last week's, and it does show a nice growing trend. But it is all going to come down to the data points, and clearly as well a dash of manipulation in there as well, because yeah, institutions and shorts have obviously want to bring NIO down in some fashion. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then, as I mentioned, if there is some pretty big developments or some actual news that does come out correlated with NIO, I'll do a PM video just to give you a quick summary of some of the data points. But hopefully everyone has a good day. Let me know your thoughts on NIO and if you plan on buying, if you're selling, or what you've been generally doing. One final thing, pop over to my Discord. It is completely free. A lot of good people talking about stocks, options, crypto, everything that you ever need in life. So link to that is in the description below. And with all that, appreciate all of you watching.